Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Aspasia, and this is my channel, Asparagusisreading, and today we're going to be giving you a couple of tips on how I have read over 100 books last year and this year. So, as many of us book people know, especially if you have been in the book community and been a little bit more proactive in requesting books and whatnot, you've probably received quite an influx in books recently. So whether that is subscription boxes, giveaways, ARCs, ebooks, physical buying, book hauls, whatever, you just all of a sudden have a bunch of books that you really want to read on your TBR or want to read list, and you just can't seem to read fast enough. I hear you. I feel it. I used to be someone that would read pretty slow, and I'm not really sure if that's because I just read slow or just because I really wanted to immerse myself into the story. But the past, I want to say about 3-4 years, I've definitely seen an increase in my reading pace and how I read. And so I thought, why not, I guess, give y'all some tips on how to do that as well. I will be honest, not everything is going to work for everyone just because everyone reads differently. Everyone prefers certain things. So please take this with a grain of salt and, test it out, see what works for you. Let's get into this. What is the first tip that I want to talk about? I think we're going to do audiobooks. For audiobooks, I'm gonna be honest, I used to be very against audiobooks. I just could never get into an audiobook. I could just never finish an audiobook. I couldn't do it. I don't know what it is about an audiobook, but I just cannot do it. I would listen to it and completely lose my train of thought, lose everything they just said, forget whatever they just said. I couldn't do it. And so whenever I had the ability to read a book, I would 9 times out of 10 avoid the audiobook and go for anything else. Well, in recent years, that has definitely changed, especially this year. I really want to read this book. I can't remember what book it is. I want to say My Lovely Wife, but I know I read audiobooks before then. But I do remember My Lovely Wife being one of the first audiobooks that really grabbed my attention, and I could tell you details from that audiobook. And I listened to it, like I kept going back and re-listening to certain scenes and things like that. Where past audiobooks, it was like, can we be done? And I think it was also because many apps at the time, or like things that I were using for audiobooks, did not have the speed up feature. And so you'd be listening to people talk like this for 9 hours long, even though normal people don't talk like this or read to others like this. And I hated it. Like, no one reads like that. Nobody. Why would y'all do that to us? I don't know. And so I hated it because I'd be sitting there for 9 hours and I just brain fried. But recently, because many apps are doing amazing, you can now speed up your audiobooks. I believe the highest that I've heard of is 5 times speed. Yes. So for audiobooks, I have started reading them a lot more in recent years, especially this year. I do believe audiobooks is my second most used format of reading, which is wild, coming from where I was 2-3 years ago when I would not touch an audiobook. I absolutely refused. And here I am now reading like 5 audiobooks a month, or 5+, depending on how well that reading month went. I highly suggest audiobooks, or at least trying it out. You don't have to make it your primary format, but I do suggest trying it out because there might be an audiobook out there for you that you would really like. There are different ways of reading audiobooks. You can do it through Audible, you could do it through Libby, which is a library app that's associated through your library. You do it through Libro FM, you could do it through Scribd, Audible, I think I already said that, Hoopla, and etc. However, do look into these apps and make sure that's one for you, because I have heard that some of these do come with paid subscriptions, and I do know that some of them have restrictions on how many books that you can listen to a month and whatnot. So look into those before you go ahead and subscribe to them, because that's gonna be a disaster if you end up not liking it. As of right now, I believe the most beloved one is Libro FM, which I don't know if you have a subscription to it, but I do know that you can purchase books through there, and you can choose what independent, local, small, etc. library or bookstore that you want to purchase it from. So instead of coming from a big company like Amazon or Barnes & Noble, you can be like, there's this really random bookstore owned by this father and son in Pennsylvania, and it's been there for 5 years. I want to buy specifically from them, and they will get a portion of the money from that you bought the audiobook, which I think is a really cool way to support them without really having to step foot in their doors. And I haven't tried it yet, but I am slowly being convinced because I keep seeing good reviews and affiliate links in people's descriptions. So if you have a link, please DM me or comment down below. My next tip, I want to say ebooks. I know, ebooks, you're probably like, really though? It's really a digital version. I know. Ebooks are actually my second most read format, I think, for this year and last year, if it was not this year in 2018. I love reading physically, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love flipping through the pages and putting, sticky tabs and putting my bookmark in and seeing my progress and getting that new book smell. I love it. It's great. However, I have noticed that for certain genres, it is a lot easier for me to read it through ebook, or it's a lot faster for me to read it if I read it on ebook. I'm not really sure why, but it does. So a lot of times if I'm reading a romance book, there's a new adult version or an adult version, for example, Maisie Yates or Sharon Sala, I tend to read them through ebook. Again, I don't know why, they just tend to read a lot faster for me through ebook version than physical version. I think it's partly because of it's a smaller screen, and I can adjust the font size, the type of font, and color of the font any way I want. I can also change the screen from white with black words, black words with white words, black screen with white words, or tan screen with dark brown words. And I believe there's another app, they have another option as well. Also, some of the apps do allow you to change the size of the font and the type of font, and so you can do Times New Roman, you could do Calibri, you could do I think there's a couple of them on there for anyone that is dyslexic to help them be able to read it without any issues, which I think is great. So I highly suggest checking out certain ebooks apps and see if they have that dyslexic font option. I know Libby, I think Libby and Kindle has that. I can't remember if it's both or just one, but I'll show it here if you're interested. But I think it's because they are smaller. I feel like I'm reading a lot more. So instead of reading, what is this, like 1,000 words on one page, I'm reading a lot. So for here, it'll probably take me 5-10 minutes to read this. Not really. I read faster than that. But if it was on my phone, I could just easily and so I feel like for me, because that makes me feel like I'm reading a lot faster, and then I really start to read. I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm 20% through. Let's keep going, That's just a me thing. I don't know. I kind of like seeing that I'm making progress. I hate when I'm reading a big book and I feel like I read 50 pages and I'm still 2% through, and I'm like, let's move on from audiobooks and ebooks. Another tip that I have is how you read and when you read. So we're going to talk about when you read first before we get to how you read, because I think when you read really relates to both ebooks and audiobooks. So depending on when you read, I think can really affect how much you read. Maybe that's just me. I notice a lot of people have started to do a thing where their morning routine and their night routine, they will try to fit in somewhere between 20 to 40 minutes of reading, and also at night routine 20 to 40 minutes of reading, which I think is great because you've already gotten some reading through, you're starting to be a little bit productive with your day, and you're also kind of getting your brain to start doing something, I guess. I mean, your brain's always doing something, but like you actively reading and taking in a world of characters and plot and whatnot, your brain is starting to like, ooh, what's going on today? Also for me, I notice at night, a lot of us have tweeted about this, so I'm calling you out right now. A lot of us do spend hours on our phone and have a hard time sleeping and things like that. And so a lot of us also spend many hours on our computers and have gotten blue light glasses. I suggest trying to put your phone down at night, and instead of sitting on your phone for 3 hours till 2 a.m., try reading for 3 hours until 2 a.m. Yes, you might fall asleep while reading and forget what the last 5-10 pages were, but at least you made some progress and you're not staring at your phone and feeling guilty that you have 15 plus hours on your screen time. I have started doing this because I spend a lot of hours on my phone. Like, I'll be like, oh, let me just look at a video, and next thing you know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Or I just have a really hard time sleeping in general after staying on my phone. I recently have started to wake up and read for 20-30 minutes. Just like, if I'm not ready to get out of bed, but I want to do something, I'll read. And at night, if I'm not really ready to go to sleep or I feel like I'm still a bit awake, I'll just read. And it has been doing pretty good so far. Like, I'm waking up and I'm feeling refreshed. You know, by the time I start getting dressed for the day, I've already read 100 pages and I'm like, woo, great. You know, sometimes at night I'll finish a book and get 50 pages into another book. Like, it's been really helpful for me, but again, that's for me. I know other people, they like to schedule out their day hour by hour, and for some people, they will schedule certain times throughout the day to read a certain amount of pages, or they will take a break from schoolwork or regular work and they will read. Please do that. Staring at your screen forever, I know this from experience. I'm a college student, English major at that, where you sit and write essays all day, can be a lot, and you just want to be tired and you're over it, and you tend not to take breaks and really allow yourself to really do things, speaking from experience. And so a lot of times if I do take breaks, I tend to bring a book with me, preferably physical. Again, I really don't want to be looking at my phone screen and going to computer screen. And that has really helped kind of like break up what I'm doing throughout the day. So instead of looking at screen to screen to screen, I'm doing schoolwork and then I'm reading and getting things done. I'm hoping I'm making any sense. For example, this, if I didn't have schoolwork, I probably would have been done the day I started it. But I have been breaking it up into chunks in between my breaks in the morning at night. So I am enjoying a lot more because I'm spending more time really thinking about what I'm reading and understanding what I'm reading and like looking at certain parts. There's a lot of things in here that I didn't even pick up on the first or second time that I read it, but now that I'm slowly reading it, I can see more. And like, oh, because like, there's a line here a couple pages ago where it was like a very clear indication of where the plot was going to go, and I was like, how did I not pick that up sooner? Like, you could literally read the description and read that one line and already know where the book is going, but somehow I missed that. I suggest maybe just picking a day over the weekend and just making like a little schedule for yourself and trying it out, because honestly, it has been great. I have failed at it twice because I FaceTime my friend and we ended up staying up till like 10-11 o'clock. But it has been helpful. And also I just feel like I'm doing something. So on the topic of how I read, we did already talk about audiobooks and ebooks, but I also wanted to mention that there are tips, tricks, hacks, etc. online on how to read faster. I do think this is something that works for some people, but definitely not everyone. So I'm gonna try to go through the ones that I know, and then if I can find videos and whatnot about it, I'll link them down below. So one of them I've heard about is when you read, people like to listen to music, and depending on the music helps. And a lot of people like to listen to ASMR videos, where they listen to like a rainy Harry Potter themed video in the background, or listen to someone cooking and baking, like ASMR cooking in the background. Or they'll try to find some ASMR that somehow relates to the video. For example, if they're reading Red, White, and Royal Blue, they might put on a typewriter one. I don't really know. Or they're reading Cassandra Clare, they might put on a woodsy fairy tale fantasy ASMR video. Other people like to listen to instrumentals. I have heard that listening to music without words, specifically without words, is a lot easier because it's a very calming music most of the time. And because it doesn't have words, you're not as inclined to start get up and dancing and shaking your booty and things like that. However, some people do listen to music with words. If you can, teach me how. I feel like when it comes to instrumentals and ASMRs, those kind of trick you or trick your brain into thinking that you are in the story a little bit, and you kind of get more immersed into it, or more like into it. I have done it a couple times. I could definitely see why it works, just not my personal preference. Another trick that I have heard of is using a bookmark or something to track how you read. So I'm not really sure if I'm able to show this, but I might put a clip in and do a voiceover. So when you read, so you have a bookmark. This is my paper bookmark. As you read each line, which I know is something a lot of us did back in elementary, middle school, as you read each line, you take the bookmark and drag it down each line. If that makes sense. And so if the first line is they pull into a driveway, your bookmark will be covering every couple lines afterwards. And so this is supposed to help people read more and faster because they're now focusing specifically on that line because they're not really seeing the other lines. Now, a similar trick that I have heard of would be take your finger or a pen, and instead of each line, you would follow each word. So instead of saying bookmark, they pull into the driveway, you'll be like, they pull into a driveway. So your eyes are following the line of your finger, pencil, or pen to that specific word. Another thing that is also similar, people like to speak a little bit when they're reading. I know we've all probably met someone in middle school, elementary school, when they read, they kind of talk to themselves. Some people are a bit more vocal. They'd be like, they pull into the driveway flaked by thick trees, and they'll read out loud to themselves. Well, others will kind of whisper it, and they'll be like, they pull into the driveway flanked by thick trees. I think that also helps for them just because they kind of like listening to it and hearing it. And so if you're one of those people, try an audiobook if you haven't. The thing is that some people like a combination of things, where some people will get comfortable in the bed and have their bookmark out, right, following each line, and they will also have the ASMR thing in the background. That sounds like a very cozy day for me. Other people like to, like me right now, sit at their desk, have their lamp on, maybe have a cup of coffee, and they might have a YouTube video playing in the background. And they just get lost in that. Other people like to sit outside or sit in the park, or, you know, just find a comfortable spot and read. That is, I believe, the preferred reading for everyone. However, there are some people a little different who like to sit at the couch or sit at the dining room table. I have heard that it's better to sit in a chair, like a desk chair or dining room chair, just because your back is straight and you're kind of like this, which I guess it could work. It's similar to when you're studying, using your laptop, doing your homework, you're straight and kind of doing this instead of slouching or just, you know, being laid back in the bed, because anytime you're in any other position other than school focused position, you're kind of trained to be like, oh, okay, I'm getting comfortable, good night, if that makes sense. I like to be comfortable. However, I do find myself falling asleep a lot, so I try to sit in a more straight up position. In fact, just this morning when I was reading, let me pull it out real quick. I have a project that is due next Friday. I have to present about this article, which is basically about the history of American Sign Language and whatnot, and also about like how it affects today and how things have been going today. And so while I was reading this and adding more information to my slides, I had popped on the audiobook of The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, and I'm now like 25% further than I was before. Also, that is partly due to having it on a faster speed, just because I like to listen to my audiobooks faster. And so for you to listen to an audiobook faster, for example, 3 times speed, you could get a 9-hour-long audiobook done in like 3 hours. So this might not necessarily help reading, like reading faster, but I think this next tip would help with, I guess, inspiring you to want to read more. So I recently, actually, let me get it. Recently started to get back into bullet journaling. And for me, my bullet journal is primarily about books. Occasionally I add a couple other things in if I feel the need to, but it's about books. Because I do already have a digital and a paper planner for life in school and whatnot. And so for me, I tend to track, let me see if I, like videos to watch, videos to do, my moods, what days I read and what it is I'm reading, TBRs, book hauls, etc. Maybe any books I'm interested in and whatnot. And I feel like having, and a readathon tracker. This is for 1,000 Doors Readathon. And so I feel like having these and then slowly filling it out makes me want to do it more. It makes me want to read more and have a reason to fill it out, because like it looks nice when it's all filled out. To be like, if you see those bullet journal videos on YouTube when they're all filled out, like they look nice. Like this is a NaNoWriMo spread that I really liked how it looked when I filled it out, because it makes me want to keep doing more, and it keeps pushing me to do more. Like this, look at those blues. Oh my gosh, can we please, like, look at those blues. I love the color of those blues, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't read or write those pages. As I was saying, I like to track these things and see if there's a particular genre that I'm starting to love or starting to hate, if there's a particular author that I really like to read, or if there's a certain type of book I like to read, or a time of month that I read a lot more. And so I do things like this and things like this. This will be colored at the end of the year, but things like this. I just really like seeing that I went from a completely empty page to pretty much almost full. Like you see there's like no space left. And so it kind of pushes me to want to read more, so that I'm able to fill that. However, it might not make you read much faster, just makes you want to read more. So I'm not really sure if that's a tip that really works. Another tip that I have is to buddy read or participate in readathons, buddy readathons, what is it called? Group books, etc. Book clubs. When you have someone doing something with you or keeps you in check for those things, they kind of just hold you accountable and push you and make sure you do it. Which a lot of people, when they try a new skill or exercise, they tend to bring a friend into it as well, because now it's not just them doing it by themselves. They have someone else there, and so a lot of times they kind of make a little bit of a competition, or they just don't want to be the only one not doing it. Also just really holds them accountable and make sure they do it. And also when it's with your friend, you tend to enjoy it a lot more. And I kind of see that working when it comes to reading. A lot of people tend to buddy read, do readathons, book clubs, group books, etc. And because when you're reading with a group of people, you're enjoying a lot more. There's a lot more discussion. Everyone's talking about like, oh, I made it here. This page is something really good. And you're like, oh my gosh, well, maybe I need to hurry up and start reading. Or everyone's talking about this really cool character and you're like, I don't even know who that is. What page is that? And you want to start to read because you want to get to that point. And I feel like that, just having that accountability partner, really having someone else there, tends to make it a more enjoyable time reading. You might not like the book, but you enjoy your time while doing it. And also, it's kind of a little bonding experience between you and that person or you and that group. I fail at readathons. I am notoriously a failure at readathons on this channel. We already know. I attempted to participate in book clubs, but again, I'm a failure with TBRs. But recently, I think the one that I have really been focusing a lot on, really being able to participate in, is Olivia Reads a Latte, Buddy Reads a Latte. I think that's what she calls it, like the whole thing. Where on her Discord, every month she reads a book with her Patreon peoples. She reads a book with her YouTube channel peoples, which is anyone if they have a Patreon or not. And I believe there's another one. I don't know like what that one's specific to. And so she tends to read a couple books each month with a bunch of people, and there's a big Discord chat for those books, and you just sit there and talk about those books all day. Depending on the length of the book, she might divide it up into chapters or different sections. I did the Prior of the Orange Tree with Buddy Reads a Latte a couple months ago. I was really struggling for the first couple hundred pages, I'm gonna be honest, but I feel like if it was not for that group and those people really talking about how exciting the next section was, or how these really cool characters were happening, and we were talking about like, you can do it, you know, you have 3 more weeks, like it's fine, just push through, keep pushing through, I probably would have DNF'd the book. Like if it was not for them, book would have been DNF and gone in like 2 weeks. And I feel like that is really helpful for a lot of people, because there were quite a few people in there that were like, DNF, and we were like, nope, 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 get to page 300-400 and you'll be in love. And I think majority of everyone read the book, and I think it continues to happen because I feel like I said earlier, it does help build relationships. I have seen quite a few book clubs or buddy group reads, group this Patreon, I don't even know what to call it anymore, Discord chats where they read a book. You start to see a lot of people talk to each other more and become friends, and they start to meet up and they start to read together a lot more, etc. Like, I want that. I just don't participate because I suck, but I want that. If you are interested in a Discord Patreon buddy read thing, I highly suggest checking out the description boxes of many of the people that you're subscribed to, or the links that they have in their descriptions or bio pages, because many of them do have one. You probably just don't know or don't pay attention to when they say it in their videos, to be honest. I know Olivia from Olivia's Latte does. I believe Ebooks has a Patreon, but I don't think she does any group reads. I know Books with Chloe does. I think Brittany the Bibliophile is working on it. I can't remember if she does it or not. I believe Little Book Owl has a really big monthly book club that she does. Books and Lala does monthly stuff. Basically, every YouTuber out there has a Patreon, a book club, readathon, or something that they participate very often. So if you check out, just check out their channel, browse through, see if you might have missed a video, browse the description boxes, maybe scroll through their tweets and see if there's anything that you missed. And I'm pretty sure you'll find a few for people that you follow or that you like. Similar to the topic of buddy reads and whatnot, reading sprints. Reading sprints is just like writing sprints, where someone might schedule a certain amount of time, for example 4:30 to 5:30, where you'll read as much as you can within that hour, in that time frame, and then you'll talk about it with other people that you're reading sprinting with. Reading sprints tend to happen when it comes to readathons, because now there's a whole bunch of people participating, so the host might be like, hey, let's do a quick reading sprint so we can complete this challenge. Let's read for 15, and then you read for 15 minutes, you'll come back to their Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and be like, oh, I read this many pages about this book and it's getting really good. Or, oh, I read this many pages and I'm really slugging through because I'm having a hard time enjoying it. Do you recommend me a different book? Like just reading sprints. And I think those sprints are fun and inspiring for people, because they're like, oh, I'm gonna push myself to read 100 pages in 30 minutes. Or I'm gonna try to read another 50 pages in 30 minutes. Because it's a reading sprint. They tend to be less than an hour long. I think the most common is 15 and 30 minutes. And you could do them really quickly, on your lunch break, after cleaning the house, during dinner, just find a quick little sprint and just read a couple pages real quick and then go on about your day. You could sit there all day if you wanted on, maybe you're doing a 24-hour readathon, but you're having a hard time staring at the page. You could just do a reading sprint after reading sprint after reading sprint, and in between those sprints, do something else. I find reading sprints to be very helpful on days that I really want to finish a book, or on readathons when I really want to complete a challenge. So check out reading sprints. I will have to say, not every readathon or book group, buddy read, etc. does reading sprints, so you might have to start them on your own, or find a random Twitter account dedicated to reading sprints only and see if they host them 24/7. I know for NaNoWriMo, that's for writing. They do reading sprints during their months, so that's like July and November, but I do know occasionally someone will start doing random writing sprints because they just want to write. Alright, now I'm done. So I will leave all the links to affiliate links, how to read faster links, reading sprint links, any group books that I know of, any website that does reading sprints, any readathon. In fact, I'll leave a page that is created by Little Book Owl, who makes a big calendar type thing where she puts in any information about reading things, readathons in there. So if you want to participate in any kind of readathon, go there. A lot of people have a hard time finding these readathons or finding really fun ones. Honestly, Twitter and YouTube, you can literally just type in readathon, and if you change your settings to recent or within the last week, you'll find a ton. You will find a ton. If you just go through Twitter and search readathon, you'll probably find a bunch of readathon pages. Or like I said, if you find a website that tracks all of them for each month, you can find a ton. Or if you want, grab a couple of your really good friends, grab someone you really want to chat with, and start your own. Listen, there's a new one being created like every other week, to be honest. I'm not mad at it. It gives everyone an option. Everyone who might not be able to do a readathon between the 15th and the 21st, they could try to do the 16th to the 21st. that is all my tips and advice and things that I've seen help other people. I know it might not have been the greatest video. Emoji video of the day. So I'm wearing a Ghostbuster shirt, if you can tell. Drop a ghost emoji down below. Or if you don't have a ghost emoji, do something blue because my shirt is blue. And let me know that you made it this far. If you also have made it this far, I also want to check out this YouTuber here. That's their channel name, username, picture here, and that is Ginger Snap Reads. I can find all those videos. I will put a little, should I make a playlist? I'm gonna make a playlist. If it's not a playlist, I will put links for it in the description, and I'll probably make a pinned comment for you guys to see if you can't see the description, if you just don't look, but whatever. And I also put links and articles and whatever other facts about how to read more and read faster, just in case that might be also helpful for you, and put those down below. If I can find any affiliate links for any of these library related stuff, etc. Maybe if you want a Libro FM affiliate link, if you want an Audible affiliate link, or etc., I'll put those down below for you. Be honest, I'm probably going to choose random booktubers. I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to choose a random person that has a link and drop it down below. But I would highly suggest checking out the people that you are subscribed to and seeing if they have a link. I don't have any. I'm not famous. I'm not popular enough. I don't have any. I also didn't ask for one, so I don't have no links. Nothing. So if you need a link, I can send you a link from someone else. Or YouTubers out there who watch my channel or is watching this video, if you have any kind of link, drop it down below. Drop it down there. If I see you comment, I know you got a link, I might, you know, bother you for it. I'll be like, where's the link? Send me the link. So, you know, I mean, like, it's a good way to get your link out there. And also these people who might want to read a lot more, they could easily use your link. So drop the damn link. Also, it's just shameless self-plug, why not? Just make your little coin on the side while you help these people read. Okay. Anyways, that is it. I think that's everything. I think I'm done. I talked too much. I think I'm done. Thank you guys for watching.